Well, this was obviously miraculous as well, but Mary, this great woman of faith, she doesn't bat an eye at that at all. She just responds in verse 38, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word." And I view this as the key verse in this entire story. In this faith-filled response, Mary shows why, she reveals why she's the model of faith, why she's a model believer in God. We saw how she was already devoted to God. She already had a relationship with Him, but then she hears this miraculous promise from God, and she believes His word without hesitation. She hears from God that He's given her this extraordinary task and plan, and she yields to God's will and call at once without hesitation. She says, "I am the servant of the Lord." To be a servant means that what your master declares, that is to be done. And so she says, "So let it be to me according to your word." Mary was saying, "Lord, what you've determined for my life, I accept. Let it be so to me, for you are the Lord." She didn't ask, "Hey, well, what's in it for me? Where's the benefit going to be for me?" She didn't think, "Well, you know, I do kind of like this. I'm going to be honored. This pleases me. I think it's going to be for my good too, so I'll accept and submit to it." She didn't do that. Her attitude was, "If the Lord wills it, I want it, and I will will it too. Use me, Lord, according to your will." She was a model believer. So what we see in this miraculous circumstance, I would sum it up this way: that Mary was a great woman of faith, and she lived like God was her Lord. She didn't just say God was the Lord. She didn't just go to synagogue and worship and proclaim that God was the Lord. She lived like He was the Lord of her life. I hope that I can be remotely like Mary in my life with God regarding His word and will. When I read God's word and know and see what God calls believers to be and to do, I hope that I can say, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word." I hope you do that as well. I hope you live like He's your Lord. Is God's word enough for you? Is God's will enough for you, where you say, "Yes, Lord, I've read it in your word, and therefore I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word"? Or do we say, in effect, "Well, I'll accept it if it pleases me. I'll accept it if it makes sense to me. Then I'll consider submitting to it. But if it doesn't make sense, well, I just won't pay attention to it. Maybe I'll just disregard it." God's word and will were enough for Mary. May they be enough for us.